The Chinese Kuomintang army scored a major feat of tactical ingenuity and daring skill. The KMT army broke free out of the Nanking encircled territory, engaged our Japanese forces in Hunan, and managed to thread the needle of not taking casualties on themselves or bestowing casualties on the Japanese, and retreating successfully into the Szechuan territory, leaving a token force of resistance in Nanking and the Japanese army holding an empty bag. The Chinese nations now reside in the interior of China, fortified in two mountainous zones of Shenxi and Szechuan, from which positions they are mutually supportive of each other and at the same time can radiate outwards and threaten the Japanese-controlled co-prosperity sphere along the Pacific coastline. The Japanese army is somewhat chagrined at the fact that the KMT slipped away past them into the mountains and has to take upon themselves that consolation prize of only cleaning up some territories to completely remove the KMT income and also thin out some of the lines of the KMT forces spread across the rest of China. The Japanese High Command has to think of themselves as a new crossroads as to which direction to pursue should they continue to build up forces in an attempt to take out the Chinese nations within the interior of China, or should they turn their attention now to other avenues of advancement, to expand the Japanese co-prosperity sphere beyond the Chinese theater to other islands, or to pursue the Chinese into the depths of the mountains. Hello friends and gamers, my name is Jinx and we're looking at Operation Cerberus, turn number 5 as the Japanese, and things are progressing quite handsomely and in a unique way. I applaud my opponent 5-star general for his successful employment of what we will call the tactical pivot retreat maneuver, where he engaged our forces from two directions, from Nanking and lightly from Szechuan, and after one round of combat, as I mentioned, thread the needle and not cause any casualties, and managed to retreat. If he had caused a Japanese casualty, he would have been forced to hang out in Hunan and be easy pickings for the Japanese forces who can run out here and attempt to take him out of the water, off the coastline here. But the fact that he scored no casualties means that he manages to retreat without blemish into the Szechuan territory. Quite something. Anyways, I applaud my opponent. Well done, well executed. I have attempted to do something similar in version 3 in another part of the world, and was told that that was an illegal move back in the day, but it turns out that now it's legal in version 4, which is grand. You know, it's one of those things that perhaps I like it. I think it'll potentially open up to some potential exploits that'll look a little funny on the map. Say, for instance, if the Italians are in Western Egypt and Upper Egypt and they attack Lower Egypt here, the British, and perhaps there's a fortified line here as well. And after one round of combat, the Italians decide to retreat, but instead of retreating back to Western Egypt, they retreat to Upper Egypt and thereby kind of bypass that fortified line. I think it'll be occasionally a little bit exploited here and there, but at the end of the day, I think sometimes the simplified rulebook trumps trying to make things always good all the time. And so I think I'm happy with this the way it is, and I think it works out good. I think I just have to incorporate it into my mental framework of potential strategies. But it was quite something to see. When I saw that roll out, when I saw the Chinese manage to engage our forces here, not score any hits themselves, not take any hits themselves either, suffer only one retreat and withdraw the bulk of their forces to Szechuan, I thought, my, that's some tactical skill. Well done, 5-star general. But without further ado, let's dive into the Japanese turn and see what there is to see, starting with a couple corrections here, I suppose. One of them being that one of these guys I overproduced at this factory, so one of these infantry have to be put in Tokyo, and then likewise the CCP were building, they upgraded a militia, which it's not quite certain if they can upgrade or not, so instead they got refunded $2 and we put our militia back on the board here. Now let's roll for recruitment here for Siam. I believe these guys don't get a line for a couple more turns, but let's see what the result is. It is July 1938, I believe, so let's see. 11, so we missed out on that one. Turning our attention to the tech charts here, let's see if we could roll out some numbers. Now we've maxed out these ones in stage 2, so we're going to go for large ship constructions, and let's go with jet fighters. So those two dice right there. We need an 8 and up on both of them. Hopefully we get some results, but we've had pretty good luck so far, and 2 misses. So that looks like it's going to be 1 here, and 1 for jet fighters here. Can't really get mad about anything because at the end of the day we had some grand luck earlier on in the game, and by the fact of maxing out 2 techs already, you can't really complain about that. That's pretty good stuff. So there we have it. Actually, this guy doesn't start there. He goes down to here, matching where the Americans are. Good stuff. All right. Now we go to our production. Now we have $32 to spend. With that, we're buying 8 cavalry, 1 artillery, 1 militia, and 1 militia upgrade. So that will land us down to 0. Turning our attention now to our combat maneuvers. What attacks where? We're going to send from Yunnan 2 infantry to Kwaichao. From Hunan, 1 infantry from Hunan to Kwaichao as well. We're also going to attach a tactical bomber and 2 fighters into that fight as well. Yep, I think that will about do it. We should probably handsomely take care of that one. We also will send in 2 Marines. So this destroyer is going to go pick up a Marine. Likewise, this destroyer is as well from this coastal area of Kyushu rather, and drop off the 2 Marines here in Nanking with shore bombardment and supplemented by a tactical bomber into the fight as well. Yeah, let's say 2 tactical bombers into the fight as well. That way we for sure have it, and it puts that aircraft to use. And now in Suyan, we're going to send a cavalry from Biping and from Rihi, 2 infantry and 2 fighters into Suyan. And I think that about covers it for all of our attack maneuvers at this point. All right, let's bring up a dice tower and get a little closer to where the action is. Somewhere here might be good. I know it's kind of flying there, but hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Hopefully. All right, it's not ideal. Okay. It's still leaning a little bit, but it might be good enough. Okay, so let's grab some dice. We'll start off with our northern battle here. We need this many dice. So the green will stand in for the defense. Then we have 1 horse, which we're going to color brown because that'll be a nice and memorable color. And then we have 2 aircraft, which we'll color orange. And then the infantry will remain black. Our infantry going in there will remain black. So there we have some dice. Yeah, I think that works. So we're going to roll, throw it down the chute. So we have the Chinese militia rolling a 3. Our 2 aircraft rolled a 4 and a 6, and everything else missed. So we managed to successfully capture Suyan with no casualties. And of course, we'll land our aircraft a little bit later on as we capture territory. Next up, let's do our battle in Kwaichao. So we're going to duplicate this dice. So we have 2 fighters going in. We have our tactical bomber, which will be red. And as for infantry, we have 3 infantry going in. So that should about do it. Let's see what those results are. Shake this one up. All right. So we have a hit here by 1 fighter. Our 3 infantry rolls misses. Our tactical a miss, an 11 and a 10 for the enemy. So altogether, only 1 hit this round on the enemy. And now we go for round 2. So we see success by the tactical, and 1 fighter scored a success, and the enemy rolled a 6, so they miss, and we capture Kwaichao for the enemy, and have 2 dudes left over there. Sorry, 3 dudes left over, 3 ground units here, 3 infantry left over for the next round. Okay, next up we have this shore bombardment, which will be the 2 red dice. Sorry, make that the 2 orange dice, and then after that we'll take a look at what the rest of the results are. The city will be encircled because we have that, so their infantry will be rolling a 3. But we scored a hit on our shore bombardment anyways, so we've managed to capture Nanking and capture all of our objectives without taking any casualties. So that's always a nice feeling, taking off some units off the enemy, especially after they ran out of our hands last turn. So that's always a good sign. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this big old dice tower. And then delete these dice. And now we go on to the non-combat movement phase. So let me think this for a second. We're going to land our tactical bomber in Yunnan, as well as our 2 fighters to this position as well. We are going to march 1 infantry. We're going to rail 1 infantry to Kwangtung. Yeah, rail an infantry to Kwangtung. And these remaining 3 infantry, 2 Marines and infantry, are going to come north to Hopei. Now, of course, that leaves Shantung and Hunan wide open, which I'm kind of okay with. If the Japanese decide to kind of thin themselves out by a push south, then that's on their heads if they want to go that direction. It'll allow me to attack them in the plains. Of course, I'll get the income for 1 turn, but I'm not too terribly worried about that. Okay, so let's see where these aircraft will land back. These ones will land in Ping, I think. Because why not? Hold on, we'll just think about that for 1 second. We're going to drop off our infantry. So this, let's see, we have a transport. It'll go 1, pick up this infantry, 2, 3, back to P14. So that's from P15 to P14. This other transport will come as well. And that means that this entire stack of infantry will come across to land in Hope. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units. I might actually land our aircraft in this position as well. Yes, of course, it means that they are faced off against a fairly strong enemy. If the enemy decides to charge in, then that's that, ultimately. I'm not too worried. If the enemy decides to attack us, that's fine too. Is it fine? I think it's fine. We'll think about this aircraft, where to land it first in a moment, but for right now, I think we're going to land it in Hope. Okay, now as for the rest of the fleet, where does it all go? So I have this P32. I have a transport. It's going to come to P16. I have unused transport in this position, P16 in the Yellow Sea, coming to P16 as well, and a third one sitting there. And you know what? All three of these guys are going to go in port into off the coast of Tokyo there. That's what we'll do. Flip this over. Doesn't want to stay. All right, there we go. And then the remaining fleet will probably stack up in the Yellow Sea here. Because why not? Yeah, why not? That'd be the 6th fleet there. It's something I'll have to be worried about later on. Watching my fleet, I'm sometimes a little bit too careless when it comes to fleet stuff. So we're going to move this to this position here. I'll think about these 2 units still, and about this aircraft. I think I will keep this aircraft back over here. If the enemy wants to attack, the enemy can attack, but we might not. I'm not too bothered if they did decide to attack. And as for these 2 infantry, should I move them? Because those are the guys that moved up with the Marines. Alternatively, I could move them and kind of reinforce Shantung and Hunan. Like this. I think I will do something like that. Yeah, I think I will do something like that. And now we go to place... Oh, one last movement here. Our seaplane will come across from Formosa. And let's get to move them to Honshu, I think. That puts us in a position that we can protect some of these sea zones from this British coastal sub that's moving up. And then we have a coastal sub in P44 coming across the Caroline Islands. So now all of our subs are on P46. So that's kind of what the situation looks like here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go to placed unit phase. I'm going to grab up all these guys. Put them somewhere here. Okay, so 4 cavalry will be placed in this position. Hold on, these guys will come here. 4 cavalry placed in Kyushu. Actually, why not? Let's do 5. 5 cavalry in Kyushu. We're going to put 3 more in Tokyo. Then we're going to put 1 artillery in Rihi. And a militia in Yunnan. And a militia upgrade in Kwangtung. There we have it. I think that puts us in a fairly solid position. I'm pretty content with that. Yeah, I'm pretty content with that. We'll see how things kind of measure out with the KMT forces. I'm sure they've got another trick or 2 up their sleeve. All right, moving our attention to the collect income phase. So our income does go up by 3 for Nanking and Suyan. So from 27 to 30, of course, the KMT drops down to 0. And we're looking at our bonuses, which is going to be, I believe, $6. Let me take a quick look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $6 for the entirety of the coastline there. I can't shake the feeling I'm missing something of importance, but oh well, I sometimes miss things. $36 to spend on the subsequent turn, and that's not too bad. To have a quick glance at the condition here on the chart, 36 pulls us above everybody basically, and the Americans are our primary opponent down at 11, so collectively we're actually not doing too bad. These little markers, they're eventually I'll set them up. So right now it's 13 plus 2, that would make 15. So the Russian income is at 15. We have the Allied income markers, so we have, what's this, 5, so that's 12, 22, 33, 33 plus 16, so that's 49. Is that correct? 49? I'll double check. That's 12, 22, 22, 33, 43, and 6, 49. 49. So the Allied income sits at 49. And then I have, this would be 54, 64. So we have 64 for those guys. And if we do stack up the bonus income, which is not always recommended because it could mess us up, we're at 70 here. And I think that's about it. I don't think anybody else gets a bonus because they're not at war with major power. If I'm wrong in that, let me know, but I believe that's the case. So we're looking at 70 for the Axis, 49 for the Allies, and 15 for the Comintern. So not great, because if you add these two together, then it balances things to 65. Is that right? Well, 64. So it's not that much far off from the Axis, but you know, we're pulling ahead slightly. If you degrade what we have here from the Axis down to 64, then we're matching what the Allies and the Comintern have together. So yeah, not as much money as we could have coming in at this point. And that about does it for the Japanese. All right, gentlemen, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to the next turn. Cheers.